This is
the official Sunday Morning Glory podcast.
Just as long as you stand.
Yo! It's Boone Jensen. Week 11 Sunday Morning Glory action coming at you. Trade deadline on the horizon. 12 p.m. deadline Thursday. Today. It's getting crazy. Will there be any moves? You expect Shane to make one move. We'll see though. You know, he's got a new team, new attitude, 3-game win streak. It's looking good in Shanetown. Boys with ink, baby. Let's go! Alright guys, don't shoot the messenger here. As you know, Boone Jensen. Little jam-packed episode for you guys today. And it's getting down to the wire now, and it's kind of bizarre, the scenarios that, you know, you can think of in your head. You know, there's a lot that can happen in the last 3 weeks here now. I don't want to go look back too much to what has already happened. You know, what's done is done in the past. It's playoff time, you know, it's a lot of looking to the future. So I'm just going to recap last week real quick. OJ's parole board just beats Kevin 140 to 136. This was a big one for CJ. He needed that win. If he didn't win that, he probably would not be in playoff contention today. And you got Team Bananas, who lost against LSU Tigers alumni once again. A big win from Brandon. It was a sneak come from behind. Cam Newton killed it for Brandon. Damo trying to play spoilers the best way he could. He just lost, though, to Team Taylor, 101 to 95. Corbin, another game that he needed. He at a 5-5 record, he's definitely in a favorable spot. White Power loses to a team has no name, 110 to 92. Mike needed that win. Maybe not so much needed, but it was a big one for Mike to lose, and that might be one of the ones that sting towards the end of the season. Like, will Mike make it for that? You know, because of that result. Moving on. Weapon X B-Dog 20, Joey Iliano's squad edges out Sean's Team Terry Folds 104 to 61. That's tough for Sean. It was a tough matchup. He needs all the wins he can get, and that could be the nail in the coffin. His record doesn't say so. So time will tell. Time will definitely tell. And Boys with Ink, Shane's new team name just beats Dale 82 to 67. This basically eliminates Dale from the possibility of playoffs. Mathematically, not quite, but a lot would have to happen for that not to be so. So, goodbye, Dale. And that's a big one for Shane, who seems in the driver's seat for his playoff spot. Once again, I wanted to keep it short and sweet with the recaps. It's all about the previews now. You know, we got to preview not just Week 11, but Week 11, 12, and 13. Week 11, we have That's Your Whole Things. Kevin Bentz playing off against Brandon Lapham's LSU Tigers alumni. That's a stinger for Brandon because that's going to be a really tough matchup. Kevin projected a really strong week this week. He's got really good matchups. Kevin's team just looks, on a week-to-week basis, it just looks unstoppable. So, you know, Kevin should be able to edge this one out, and that would be a tough one for Brandon. Team Taylor's facing off against OJ's parole board. This one should be close. Corbin, it's still Thursday. Corbin is yet to set his lineup, but after he does, projections are going to be really close. Corbin could use maybe one more win just to make him in a comfortable spot. If he can go 2-1, he might even be able to get in by just going 1-2. A team has no name facing off against Team Bananas. Zach needs this one, and projections have him taking this. He's got a powerful squad, right behind Kevin, in my opinion, in terms of top tier talent. And you'd assume Zach's going to take this one. He needs this one a lot more than Matt does. But you got to think Matt's fighting for a top two seed in the playoffs, because there is an award. I believe it's $50 award for being a top two team. So Joey essentially has that locked up. So Matt's fighting with Kevin, two brothers, for a $50 prize. Moving on, Team Terry Folds against Damos Bozos. Damos looking to play spoiler. If I had to say, Sean's going to edge this one out, and Sean will likely go 5-6. That bodes very well for his playoff hopes. And we'll get more into strength of schedules for all the teams following this Week 11 preview here. So that'd be a big one for Sean. And then Dale Cooper, Team Cooper, is playing off against Mike Godarici's White Power. It's safe to say Mike needs that, and he should be able to get it. The projections between him and Dale are sky high, and honestly, if Mike loses this one, it's game over. The 4-6 record is not the record you want to have at this point in the game. It's going to be tough. You're almost looking to make the playoffs. You expect to lose maybe once over the course of the next 3 weeks. So we're going to have a team that makes the playoffs at a 6-7 record, no doubt. Maybe even two teams with a 6-7 record. Boys with no inks, Shane Farrell playing off against Weapon X B-Dog 20. That's Joe Iliano's squad. It's going to be a close one. Shane needs it a lot more than Joey does. But if I had to say, and I'll say it, I think Shane's going to go with the upset here. I think Joey's going to go down to a 9-2 record. In fantasy football, it's very hard to go undefeated, let alone go through the whole season with only one loss. What Joey has done has been very shocking. 9-1, it's very impressive. But it's time to get another loss, and I think Shane's going to be the one to do it, and that'll be the kicker. Shane will essentially clinch his not clinch, but he will hold a playoff spot from that point. Moving on. We're rolling. We're rolling in this one. We got a lot to preview. Moving on, like I said, I got playoff tree predictions for you, and we're going to look at everybody's schedule upcoming. So we got Corbin. He faces off against CJ Week 11, Kevin in Week 12, and Sean in Week 13. We are projecting Corbin to win 2 of those matchups of the 3, bringing Corbin to a playoff 7-6 record. Brandon arguably has one of the hardest schedules over the next 3 weeks. He faces off against Kevin in Week 11, Matt in Week 12, and Dale in Week 13, giving Brandon a projected 6-7 record. Sean faces off against Damo in Week 11, CJ in Week 12, and Corbin in Week 13. We are projecting Sean to get 1 win out of those 3, giving Sean a 5-8 record to finish off the year and missing the playoffs. Sean's fought hard, but we just do not see it. Moving on, CJ face off against Corbin, Sean, and Shane. We're projecting a 1-2 record for CJ in this one, and we're projecting him to miss the playoffs. He's got a hard schedule there. The only easier matchup on paper is to Sean. CJ can very well surprise and take it 6-7, but depending on how playoff tiebreakers are, CJ can miss even if there's two other teams that are also 6-7, and that's a shame. Shane, I would say, has the easiest of the playoff. The teams fighting to get in the playoffs. Shane definitely has the easiest schedule here. At 8-5, we're projecting him to win all three of his matchups. He faces off against Joey in week 11, Damo in week 12, and CJ in week 13. And we got Mike, who faces off against Dale, which should be a win. Also faces off against Joey, which is a projected loss, and Damo, which is a projected win. This bodes well for Mike, as we also have him in a playoff spot. With all that being said, let's get a little drum roll, because we're projecting the playoff tree, the matchups that we're going to see in week 14 to kick things off at the SMG playoffs. So without further ado, Joey, number one seed in the SMG playoffs, is going to be facing off against Mike Goddardici's White Power, who will reclaim... I'm sorry. My mistake. We project that Joey will be facing off against Brandon at the 8th seed in the SMG playoffs. Moving on, Kevin Bentz. That's your whole thing. We project he will play Mike Goddardici's White Power as the 7th seed in the Sunday Morning Glory playoffs. A team has no names. Matt clinching the 3rd seed. We are projecting him to play against Corbin's Team Taylor in the SMG playoffs. Furthermore, possibly the greatest matchup possible. We have two strong contenders, two players who have been the strongest as of the last, if I had to say, the last month and a half or so. We got Zach and Shane facing off 4-5 in the playoffs, SMG playoffs. That's going to be a wild one. Both guys deserve to possibly not only just to get in the playoffs, but even go further into the playoffs with a possible round 2 matchup. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. But only one of them can win. It's going to be insane. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of upsets over the next give or take, week 11, 12, 13. This is the best time of fantasy football. The ultimate goal is to win the championship, but in order to do that, you need to make the playoffs. So making the playoffs is essentially the ultimate goal. You want to get to the playoffs to give yourself a chance in the playoffs and a chance to win the championship. And projecting Damo to finish last, Dale finish 11th, Sean to finish 10th, and CJ to finish 9th. Those are the 4 teams projected to miss the playoffs. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Trade deadline, as you know, is at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time today. And if I had to say, some teams got to make the moves if they want to be playoff squad. But I don't think we'll see much movement, if any trades at all. Maybe we'll see one. It's tough to say. I'm hoping every GM in the league is going to throw some trades out there to try and win the league. That's what we play fantasy football for, and just send out trades. Like even if they're bizarre and you don't think they're going to get accepted, just send them out, because you never know. This is the time where you got to make your team stronger, and you gotta do what you got to do. So it'll be interesting to see if we have any trades. Vegas odds have that number at under 3 trades. Personally, me being Boone Jensen, I'm going to take the under on that. I don't think we'll have a heavy trade deadline. I think a lot of the teams are very happy with their lineups, and they're just going to go in with what they got. I think we'll see 2 trades tomorrow, or today, I should say. And it should be fun. Trade deadline's always good. We're getting to about the 20-minute mark now, and that's usually around the time I like to end the podcast. It's crunch time. There's going to be a lot of upsets. There's going to be some surprises. And, that's what makes fantasy football so good. That's what makes it so much fun to play, and with buddies and whatnot. No matter what, SMG is going strong. There's a lot of activity in the league, and it's going to be fun over the next 3 weeks. So with that being said, I'm Boone Jensen. I'm going to be signing off now. Thank you for listening, and see you next week.